for joining. I'm really excited today because I chose to put my own medicine to work, and I chose to push past a really emotional roller coaster that I've been on since Sunday. So, actually, no, since Tuesday of last week. And so then it just kept going and going and going. And I had to, again, put my own medicine to work. So I'm excited to talk about it from a very real place, a very transparent place, and a very authentic place. So thank you for joining. And for those of you who are enjoying these lives, hi, doll. Thank you. Come on. I love that. Kimberly the Millionaire. Yes. Hi. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. I'm loving your name, though. Like, I receive all of that. Marquita, hi. I'm so excited. I'm going to attempt to look at the camera and look at my newsfeed over here to try and keep connected with you guys. Hi. So, yes, Daughters of Mordechai is my personal ministry. You guys know I do a lot, right? So I have my secular job, which we're actually getting ready to expand. And I'm so excited. We're looking for a new building to do bigger and more things. I'm very, very excited about that. You all know I'm a traveling speaker, so I'm really always excited about that. I have a nonprofit, Passport Life, where we reach out to HBCUs and encourage them to grow as a global citizen in their intercultural exchange and cultural intelligence. I do that secularly and for HBCUs as well. But my favorite thing to do is, hey, Maddie, oh my God, hey, Red. Dude, like, when we hop offline, I'm going to jump through the phone and beat your hind parts because I haven't seen you in forever. I just want to say that I'm not going to be a bully because I don't believe in internet bullying, but it's been far too long. So yes, but one of the things that I love to do when I'm not talking, when I'm not empowering people is Daughters of Mordechai. I love ministry. I love the ministry of being a woman. I love the ministry of loving on people. I love the fact that I get to be a missionary. I love the fact that I get to specialize in compassion. And it also is challenging if you are in ministry on any plane. Okay, you kissed me, so I'll call it even for now. If you're in ministry on any plane, you know that whatever your lane is, you are constantly challenged in that area. So my life has been surrounded with a lot of hardships and things that take a lot to overcome, but it's because I've been called to give a lot to many people. So I'm thankful for that experience every day. So Daughters of Mordechai is a product of that. I believe that there's a queen in every single woman on this planet. I believe that there is an Esther in all of us. We just need the tools to tap into that so that we can manifest our best selves. And so there's a whole Facebook page for that. So we've been doing these lives, these Daughters of Mordechai, Queen's Quarters, to not only give weekly encouragement to fellow believers who happen to be women who are probably also in ministry, who may or may not have a business, but also in addition to that, we like to promote our events and our newsletter and such. So why am I saying this to you? I'm saying that there are tons of videos that you guys should totally catch up with. I actually posted on my personal page by accident like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, that was on my personal page. And then I got several inboxes like, dude, we didn't even know you were doing this. We had no idea. So what I've decided to do now is to go live here and share it onto the ministry page so that we can have some cross promotion. So thank you guys who have tuned in. We are at 8:06. I like to try and jump in before 8:10 just so that I make use of our time. Today's topic is how to push past everything. What does this have to do with ministry? What does this have to do with entrepreneurship or kingdompreneurship? Everything, because life happens. Life absolutely happens. As long as you're living, something will happen that can deter you from reaching your goal, that can deter you from reaching your dream, that can make you feel like you don't deserve to live your dream, that can make you feel like there's not enough room in the space where your dream is. Hey, oh my God. Hi, Dwayne. We're going to have to talk offline. This is great. I love connecting with people, especially I haven't seen you in forever. I hope you're well. So yes, there are tons of things that happen in life that keep us from doing what we truly desire to do. So when everything happens, or like for me, it felt like the whole kitchen sink was thrown at me at one time. When that happens, how do we push past that and still reach our goal? That is a necessity. We have to learn that. We have to practice that. We have to be prepared for that, because life is going to come. As long as you are living, life will continue to send lessons. Life will continue to give you opportunities to know yourself in a better way, in a different way, to find out just how strong you are. You're only as strong as your last triumph, right? So you may feel like, oh, I can only handle it here, until something here comes and you come over that. And then your faith in yourself grows, your faith in God grows, right? And your understanding of what it means to live, like really live, with the ups and the downs and the goods and the bad, that all comes together through our experiences through life. So today I'm gonna hop right into it. And I am trying to decide how I wanna go into this. Okay, so transparent moment. I mentioned I've been on a roller coaster. So I had a family member pass away unexpectedly at 30. My cousins and I, my family is very, very, very tight knit. And so it was my cousin's son, but he's more like my brother. So this is more like my nephew, right? That passed away at 30 in a motorcycle accident. And it was really, really hard to even fathom that, because, I mean, you know, I haven't seen him since he was a kid because I left the country, right? So, but I've always heard wonderful, good things. I've kind of kept up with them on social media, kind of from a distance. But to get that news, I think for me, because I've known him to only ever be happy and loving and outspoken, to know that that was stopped and unexpectedly taken from his family, his friends, his wife, his 2 small children, that was really hard for me to process. And then sitting in the funeral on Tuesday, and all of these young people who knew him, and seeing the video montage, like it just really made everything really for real, for real. And the letters from his younger sister, and the outpours and cries from his family and mother and father, it was a lot, y'all. It was just a lot, right? And for my family, this has been kind of a tough year. I earlier in the year lost my aunt and uncle, very, 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 very tragically. And in turn, I lost the last of my cousin from their marriage, and my great niece from that family. So it was a lot of loss. It's been a lot of loss. We are a tight-knit family. We live really, really long. So, you know, this is surprising, and it took a lot. And then, hey, BB, thank you for joining. Love you, mama. In addition to that, I was inaccurately accused of some pretty heavy things. And then I was made aware that my character, my very genuine, always real character, was for a long time assumed to be something else. When you think people know you and you find out that they don't, it is a super hard thing. I felt like it was a breakup, like for real. I felt like my heart was just ripped out of my chest to, and just like, yeah, it felt like a really bad breakup, right? So then on top of that, like the list literally goes on. When I tell you that like this week has been, thank you, beautiful. Wow, how have you been? I haven't connected with you since like Korea. Hey, Karen, hope you and your family are well. Light, love, and hugs to you. So it's just been a lot. So what is the point of this? So I'm saying that this week I had to put the things that I'm sharing with you into practice. That is the point. So when things come, my initial response was to go back to old things that I know don't offer any fruit, right? We go back to what's comfortable. We run back to what feels good. We run back to what we know, or those people, places, or things that have in the past sufficed to, help us get over that emotional hump. So I decided not to do that. I was like, I'm already come out of that. I've already done something different. So let me move on to something else that I know works, right? I don't want to go backwards. I want to always consciously move forward. So I didn't go back to the old things. So of course I went to prayer, obviously, but I was just so emotionally drained. Have you guys ever been that way where just like one thing after the other comes and you're so emotionally drained? Like for me, I didn't even want to get out of bed. And I think it's because naturally my energy is always all the way up here. So for it to drastically drop, like it just took so much from me. So I didn't want to get out of bed. I like was doing minimal of everything. I was like, I won't call back, I'll text. I won't, go to class, I'll do it remotely. I'm not gonna participate in this. I'm just gonna be in my bed and I'm gonna be sad. This is what I'm gonna do. But then there was the voice of the Lord that came to me, and I love that he meets us where we are. And it was very clear, very specific. You don't belong here in this dark place, in this self-pitying place, in this sorrowful place. You don't belong here. You can be here, you could pass through here, but you don't belong here. And sometimes we don't realize, and Maddie, she definitely has an entire book, journal, and a whole tour about having mental peace of mind. So she can vouch. Be sure you follow her. Be sure you get her book. You absolutely need it. From Peace of Mind to Peace of Mind. We'll definitely have her on the show to talk about her book as well. But when we are in the battle, on the battlefield for our mind, through our emotions, we have to remember that that dark place, that low place, you are passing through. That is not your end goal. That is not the end of the game. That is not where you have been designed to live or be. And I felt myself kind of sinking, getting that settling feeling. Oh, I'm just used to not getting out of bed now. And even my body started to shut down at like 8. Anybody who knows me know I don't go to bed until like 3 a.m., right? So, and I get up at like 5, but my body was like, oh, it's 8 o'clock bed. So I just didn't want to participate in life. So today I want to share some tips about how I am actively getting out of that place. So number 1, you have to stop where you are and center yourself. And what do I mean by center yourself? I mean, you have to find your peace of mind. Thank you, Maddie. You have to find your peace of mind, grab onto it, and establish what that means for you. If you are a normally a high energy person like myself, what does that mean? What does that look like? Even if you are a low and chill person, but you're not as low as depression or how that might feel, how do I get back to that chill moment? How do I get back to functioning? Let me center myself, because centering yourself is not for the other person. It's not for the situation. It's for you. It reminds you of who you are and who you've been called to be. Center yourself, bring it in. Your emotions have gone over, boiled over. Maybe your words have boiled over. Maybe some of your actions have been out of character because of the things that were said or felt or happened. Center yourself, visualize who you are, come back to the middle, take a moment. It is okay to take a moment. It is okay to stop and say, you know what, right here, I'm going to have to just take a moment. I'm going to have to take a beat. Give yourself a pause. Not an applause, but a pause. Give yourself a pause. Give yourself some space to reclaim who you are, reclaim your identity, become aware of where you are and maybe where you have come off kilter. Number 2, after you stop and center yourself, you have to learn. We have to learn. I have to learn. And we have to keep reminding ourselves, let whoever say whatever. If you are grieving, do not let someone's perception that you need to be over the grief, or it shouldn't bother you, or why is it taking you so long to grieve? That should not determine whether and when you're ready. Let them say it. Let whoever say whatever. Okay, you think I should be over it. I'm not. You think I should, at the end of the funeral, that's it. I shouldn't have any feelings after that. I do. That's your perception about where I am. That's not true to me. That's not true to what's happening to me. I should just let that person, fly off the handle with, no responsibility to their words or actions. Disagree. I'm going to absolutely teach people how to treat me, because it's my job. It's no one else's job, right? So let whoever say whatever. I think a lot of times when we're going through life, especially as women, because we womb things, right? We're wombed men. As we are pulling these things in and nurturing these things, what happens is we begin to live a life of validation based on what other people say. So when people say, oh, I don't know, that person is loose, right? She's loose. We then begin to prove that we're not. We're trying to prove that we're good and have it together. We try to prove that we're very, what's the word I want? Chaste and modest, right? If someone says, oh, she just wants attention, we try to prove that, or that we try to prove we're strong. But the thing is, let whoever say whatever. That's on them. That has nothing to do with you. That is their responsibility to carry those words out. Your responsibility is to live your life beyond other people's words, beyond other people's interpretations, beyond other people's expectations of you. You are the only one who can determine what is best for you because you're an expert. You are the expert in your own life, right? So just remember that when you hear negative things in your ear, when people say negative and hurtful things to you, let whoever say whatever. It's not about them, right? It's about you living your best life. Okay. The other thing is, oh, yes. And I wanted to caveat here. I recently, I'd say maybe over the past month or so, I have had several people talk to me from a place of church hurt. I wanted to just kind of tackle that here under this let whoever say whatever piece. So when we are journeying through life, right? Along the journey, we find ourselves in churches, hospitals, if you will, places where people congregate. So here's the thing. People are people. People who are hurt in turn hurt people. Leaders who are hurt turn around and yes, thank you. Hi, Faith Walker in the building. Whoop, whoop. Hi, Ann. So you guys should definitely follow Faith Walker as well on Facebook. Lots of encouraging words there to build your faith so we can walk by faith and not by sight 24/7. Shout outs to you. Yes, so it doesn't matter from the pulpit to the door. People are people, right? People are prone to make mistakes. We live in our flesh. We have a spirit, but we live in our flesh, right? I posted something earlier that was like a quote from Grandmaster Flash, but then I related it over to David in the Bible, who wrote a scripture about, being even when you're trying your best, you feel like you're under, you're being taken under. The thing is, when that happens and it is the cause of a person, we have to, one, release forgiveness intentionally. Two, trust that God will be God in that situation, no matter what. If you did say it, didn't say it, whatever, your Holy Ghost will vouch for you. If that person or those people if the Holy Ghost is anywhere around, he is the truth teller. He will reveal the truth in that situation. It's not your job to. Literally, and the Holy Spirit is so good. Literally, I had a whole encounter with God, and he was very clear, and I like to write the things that God says. So I wrote down, I'll be your avenger, I'll be your protector. This next persecution is a release for your next. And I'm like, oh, yes, God, this is great. This is great. Hallelujah. Literally within the same day, those things had to come to pass immediately. I heard a pastor talk about once that, we want to have the table spread, in front of our enemies, But the thing is, if you want the table spread, your enemies have to be there, right? The scripture talks about your enemies being at the table and all that. Your enemies got to be at the table. So when you go through church hurt, please, please, please do not use that as an excuse to do whatever you want, to act a fool. Oh, well, this pastor hurt me 800 years ago, so I don't do church, and this is why I do this. Or, oh, this deacon said that he was my friend and really blah, 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 blah. Or, the choir director or the church member or whoever, the Sunday school teacher, it doesn't matter. People are people. People are prone to be prickly, right? People are prone to be prickly. And when you get pricked, do not ascribe that to God. Don't even ascribe that to that person. Yes, it's their actions. Yes, it's something that they did. But your assignment is to love them beyond that. It is a hard thing. It is not an easy thing. But that is your job, to love them beyond that. Give them space to grow. Give them grace to grow. The same grace and forgiveness that we experience on a regular basis, we have to give that out, even in the tough times, right? So I definitely want to encourage anyone who's been church hurt don't let the enemy use that as a door to your heart. Get better, not bitter. And just kind of release those things. And let God avenge you at the end of the day. Yes, Karen, it's our reaction. Yes. Yes, we are so in charge of our reactions. That is, and it doesn't matter what the other person did. We can't control them, right? We can't control what they say. We can't control what they think. We can only control our actions. Yes, that is the big thing. And here's the thing, people can't unhear what we say. You could say, I'm sorry. You can say, I didn't mean it that way. You could say, oh, that came out totally wrong. But ultimately, people cannot unhear what you say. So we have to watch our words, and people can't unsee your actions. If you fly off the handle, I don't care if 80 people say they were totally validated for doing that. You still are responsible for your actions. We've seen it, right? Time and time again on Facebook, a news feed will go by that dad beats rapist down, and serves 50 years in jail. Why? Although we understand it, although it was, we feel a just action, you are responsible for your reactions. Yes, Karen, that is the big thing. Yes, so let God avenge you. If God is really God, he'll avenge you. There's no way that a loving God will see his child be mistreated and not avenge him or her at the end of the day. And as of late, I've been, and you guys have seen me post it, I am so serious about that thing. No lie can live forever. One of us is not telling the truth. If you're telling the truth, and I'm just saying in this example, I am the bearer of bad things or whatever, then when I remove myself, no more bad things will happen. Or the opposite is true. What I'm saying is true. And whatever's happening on your end is of your own accord and has nothing to do with me, right? One of these two things will happen because no lie can live forever. And because of that, we don't have to get stuck spending energy, pouring energy, investing energy in things that are negative and things that are not true and things that are going to die anyway, because no lie can live forever. Instead, let's invest our time in the truth. The truth is God will avenge you. The truth is there is an assignment over your life. The truth is you're not here for people. You are here for what God has called you to do and who God has called you to be. There are souls attached to your life. Are you getting the tools you need through your life journey to pour into those people? Is your heart in a place that you can pour healthily into those people, or are you going to be pouring tainted? That's where you should be spending your energy. That's where you should be spending your prayer time. That's where you should be spending your voice hours, I call it. What are you talking about? Don't keep giving life to it by talking about it. No, God's got it. He's going to figure it out. And I moved on to something else, right? So that's all under the let whoever say whatever. And again, I've gotten message after message after message wanting me to talk about church hurt. And that probably will take a whole video. But for today, I just wanted to touch on that. When people hurt you, forgive them, realize that they're human, and let God be God. Let whoever say whatever and let God be God, even in that situation. Okay. Number 3, draw the line. It is so important for us to draw the line. Ultimately, yes, we do teach people how to treat us, but it is up to you to say, okay, it's enough. It's gone far enough now. Right. In my sad situation, in my go through, in the lament, the rightful lament of my family. Okay, Avery, it's enough. Here's the line. Get out of bed. It's enough. You've grieved. You have. And you will probably continue to grieve. But this level of grieving where you can't function, get out of bed. And let's assess it, because y'all know, in the midst of everything else I do one-on-one advisory sessions. And I always tell people, like, process, assess, and detach. I had to use my own medicine. Okay, process. Is this really about Cameron? Is this really about what happened? What's going on here? For me, there were some other things that I haven't grieved yet, which is why it is so important when we draw that line to then assess, okay, this is enough, but what am I going to do to get myself from here? What am I going to do to remove myself from this mental state? A lot of times we don't know how to grieve. I'm writing a book about it. I'll definitely let you guys know when I finish it, but we don't know how to grieve. We don't know how to grieve. We end up grieving too quickly because other people say, oh, it's time to get over it. Or we don't grieve at all because we don't want to seem weak, or we don't want to seem, like we're too emotional or whatever, because there's negative connotations with emotions, whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Only you know when you're ready. Draw that line in the sand and then allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to grieve healthily. We can grieve death. We can grieve the loss of a job. You can grieve the changing of a relationship. You can grieve the changing of family dynamics. If you're used to mom and dad raising you together and now it's just mom or just dad or dad and his new wife, whatever, you can grieve the dynamic of what it was before. What happens is we don't allow ourselves to grieve. We don't allow ourselves to be hurt and then process through that. And so when we don't grieve properly, we try and move on to something else and we just compact that grief. We compact that feeling of loss, that feeling of instability that comes with when you lose something. And that comes about as bitterness. That comes about as distrust. We build walls. We assume things about people that remind us of other people who we didn't grieve properly. We didn't grieve and let it go. The end of grieving is to let it go. The grief wheel, the last part, let it go. You'll always remember, but let it go. It won't have that power, that hold on you. And so definitely draw that line and say, okay, it's enough. I'm going to grieve this and I'm going to actively move forward. I'm not just going to get in the bed. I'm not just going to close myself off from people. I'm not just going to go into deep isolation. Grieve, have your moment, yes, then draw your line. It's healthy. It is so healthy to draw the line for yourself. Hey, Rev, how you doing? I'm gonna come see you on Sunday, actually. Hopefully you'll be in town. I saw you were cruising. Last but not least, and I try to keep these at 30 minutes when I don't have a guest on the show. Last but not least, remember your why. As you are attempting to move through life, as you are attempting, especially as business owners, things happen. The shipment doesn't come in time. You have a disgruntled customer. The funding doesn't come. I know the first move that we made for Ever Young, I was all excited. I was ready. There was this building. It was gorgeous. It was exactly what I needed. And the funding didn't come. I lost the building, and I believe it's an internet coffee shop or something. I don't know. I can't even bring myself to go look. But my point is that these things happen. You can't control it. Even with we go on a yearly cruise, the week we were supposed to go on our cruise, Hurricane Irma hit. There was no way we could get on a cruise and go anywhere. We would have been stranded forever. Continued prayers to those people, but we chose to go north. Why? Because life happened, right? So when life happens, yes, I was devastated because I know that I tried to pride myself in consistency. I don't care if it's just me. I'm going to go regardless, right? But unfortunately, I couldn't go. So I had to grieve. Okay, I'm not able to go. I'm not able to produce that. I'm not able to put that out. But at the end of the day, once that loss has happened, you have got to remember why you do it. Do I have these cruises just to have them? No, I have them to empower women. If I can't empower women on a cruise in the Caribbean, I'm going to empower them in Canada. And it just so happens we made several stops along the way. So I was able to empower way more women from North Carolina to Canada and back again, right? When you lose money as a business owner, when you lose money and you're not able to produce what your business is supposed to produce, it's okay. Go back to square one. Figure out, this is why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing it for this reason. I want to produce this. I want to have this type of impact. This is my purpose. This is my passion. When you remember your why, the losses and the knockdowns and the setbacks become points of review. They become points of learning. They become, for me, points of motivation. I don't want to ever go through that again. So let me learn what I need to learn so that I can put that into practice and move on. That process applies to business, relationships, churchships, kingdomships, all of that. You can apply that to all of that. When you get to a place, go ahead and grieve it and then learn what you need to learn. Remember your why and move on, because otherwise you'll get stuck. You will get stuck and you will think you're moving forward, but really you'll look up months and years later and what have you really produced? I always encourage people, when they're like, oh, how do I know if I'm, successful in business? Look at your fruit. What have you produced? Since the last time we had a consultation meeting, what are you bringing to the table? That also tells me as a consultant just how invested you are into your vision. Because that's one thing life has taught me. I will not ever work harder for somebody else's vision than I will work my own. I just refuse to do it. Me personally, everybody's different, but me personally, I will never ever work someone else's vision harder than they're willing to work on their own. So when we have our follow-up meeting, our quarterly meeting, and you have nothing that you've brought to the table other than what I sent you with, then that tells me you're not invested. That tells me you haven't learned. That tells me that you bringing me no fruit means you didn't groom, farm, and till your own land. You want me to do it, and you have to pay me a lot of money for that. So yes, how do you know you've moved forward? Fruit. You'll see the fruit of that. You will know that you are not stuck when you start to see little sprouts of hope, little sprouts of produce from whatever it is, whether it's business or relationship. I've talked to friends who have been in situations where they've been hurt or betrayed, and they're just like, I can't move past this. Of course, we pray, we talk about it, we process, but then I start to look for those little glimpses of hope, like, oh, did you give that guy your number? Maybe you're ready to, maybe not a full-blown relationship, but you're not lamenting, the heartbreak from the last one, right? Those little moments of, little springy sprouts. Those are the things that you want to look for. And those are the things you want to appreciate. When you're remembering your why, when you're remembering that I want to be healthy, that's why. There's a call in my life, that's why. I've been called to a purpose, there's a plan for my life, that's why I do what I do. When you remember your why, you start to look for the little things that start to point towards your why. Being at a 100% is a necessity for you to do anything, whether you want a successful marriage, friendship, business. You have to be at 100%. If you're not at 100%, go back. Figure out, okay, I need to be at 100% so that I can produce my why at 100%. So remember why you're doing what you do. Remember why you started. Remember why you connected with that friendship, connected with that relationship, joined that ministry, started your business. Why did you go back to school? Reverend and I, we were in school. She's now since graduated. Cheers out to you. Remember, why did you start school? What was your reasoning for going to school? What is it that you wanted to accomplish? When you get to that place of feeling stuck, remember your why. So, yes, there's my time marker. I hope that you guys have gotten something out of what I said. I hope that me being real and transparent with you has encouraged you to go on a little further. Hopefully you can use some of these tools when you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling down, when you go through grief or loss. These are the ways you push past everything. Stop, clear your mind, center yourself, let whoever say whatever, draw the line in the sand. In other words, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And last but not least, remember why you started. So you've been tuned in to Lady A, and